Hi, thank you for watching. My name is Chong Kim. I'm a survivor of human trafficking. And I also want to let you know that I'm living with cervical dystonia. And what that is involuntary muscle spasm. And it's also part of the traumatic brain injury. And so whenever I'm speaking, a lot of times my tone can change, as well as the spasm in my face and also in my throat. Today, I want to talk to you about behavioral detection. And this is so important because I know that a lot of people are not aware of this. When there are activists or those who truly care about the cause, whether it's sexual abuse, rape, or even sex trafficking, or even domestic violence, one of the things I want to share with you is that when you are meeting with several different people, whether it's at a networking party, a mixer, or things like that, always be aware that the people that are interested in what you have to say are two types of individual. One is always the predator, and the second one are the people that hunt them. And when I'm talking about predators, and it ranges anywhere between someone who may be having red flags or toxic behaviors to a full on um, possible rapist, possible abductor, possible groomer. And I'm sharing this with you so that way you could be aware and be able to listen to cues and signs when they talk to you. So, the difference between someone who is interested in what you have to say and what you're advocating for, they are not going to make sexual jokes. They're not going to make any weird questions that doesn't appear to be appropriate. But if you don't know what are those sayings are, what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate. So let me give you a scenario. Um, I met a guy last year. No, actually, it was before COVID. And he found me on Facebook, befriended me, and he wanted to learn a lot about my techniques on how to look for behavioral detection. And because I didn't see his posture, I didn't see his face, everything was just through chatting. And so I didn't see the red flags right away. And so, but I also knew that we had tons of mutual friends. And with those mutual friends, I thought, yay, I can trust this person. Well, he flew me out to LA to meet with him. And he put me up at his place. He had his own Airbnb place, so he had me stay there. And so, but one of the things that I started to catch on is that he was involved in multiple things and he couldn't quite find something that he was good at, or he couldn't focus on one particular thing. We may have several things that we like, but a lot of times there's always going to be one dominant passion that we have that we want to focus on while we're doing these other side projects. However, one of the things that I remember when we were hanging out and we were talking about human trafficking, um, he would ask me questions like, what type of groomers do you look for? What type of signs? And, I would tell him, just behavioral detection to look out for, um, make sure you pay attention to your boundaries. And he was like, okay. And then he would ask me questions like, what type of boundaries? And then he would throw in scenarios saying things like, well, let's say that you and I met at a different circumstances, like I saw you at a coffee shop, and would that be grooming? And I said, well, it has to be a little bit more than that, than just meeting. What exactly are you talking about? And so he wanted to know, what does grooming look like at a coffee shop? So I just threw out a scenario, not realizing I was actually talking to a groomer. And so I told him that this guy would have to get to know me, and he would find ways to strike up a conversation. He would say, "Oh, what book are you reading? Oh, I like that book. What kind of, you know, he would scroll through his phone really quick to look at the type of book I was reading and do a quick search on Google and to get some of the synopsis of the story so he could strike a conversation." And so in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, he knows a lot about this book. And he, is interested in the book. And then he wants my phone number. He wants to stay in touch. He wants to be my friend. And when he sees my post that I need something or I need volunteers, he'll actually contact me and say, what do you need? How can I help? And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, what a great guy. And so when I, say, hey, we need volunteers, but he's in LA and I'm in Texas. So he'll say, well, let me send you some money and I'll help you out. And when that transaction starts, that's when the groomer feels you now owe them, but they're not going to tell you right off the bat. So a lot of times they want you to accept multiple transactions with them. And this scenario can also turn into sextortion, especially when it comes to teenagers. Because a lot of times when teenagers are chatting with someone that's an online groomer, they'll say, send me something that you've never shown with anyone. And a lot of times, a lot of these kids become manipulated thinking that they can trust this person, and they'll share certain secrets, they'll share certain scenarios or even photos and videos. And what happens is when a groomer finally gets what they think they need in order to trap you, a lot of times they'll say, okay, well, I'm kind of going through my own hardship. Do you have that money that you can pay me back? Well, there was never a talk about how this transaction is going to go. So a lot of times, the person will feel off guard and they'll think, oh no, I didn't know I need to pay that back. I'm trying to start up a nonprofit or I'm trying to do this charity and I don't have a lot of money. And that's when a lot of times the groomer will start to say, well, I really need that money. And, you did take a lot from me, and that can be considered fraud. And so they'll manipulate you and they'll try to extort money out of you. Anytime you're in that situation, always remember that you did nothing wrong. If they give you money through Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, that is their risk. If they offer, always screenshot all your conversations. Never delete the chats because even the intent in the chat can also be explained. And if you have a good attorney or a great prosecutor, they can be able to explain the context of that chat. But I just wanted to share with you about some of the behavioral detections when it comes to possible groomers, especially when you're going to a networking party, a mixer, or even just meeting someone at an event and they take an interest in your cause. So please be wary in how they ask questions. The questions that they ask, make sure it is appropriate. And if you want to learn more, please check out my website, iamchongkim.net, and contact me for sessions or anything like that. Thank you so much.